Hello, my name's Raymond Massey, Regional Sales Manager for Schwarze Industries. Today we're going to do a product walk around on the Schwarze A4 Storm Regenerative Air Street Sweeper. First thing we want to talk about is the chassis. The chassis that this particular machine is mounted on is in a Isuzu cab-over chassis with a 215 horsepower diesel engine and an Eisen 5-speed automatic transmission. It is 17,900 GVW. Therefore, it does not require a CDL license to operate. It is equipped with a dual steering package, does not have a dual gauge package, but does have your dual steering package to allow you to sweep from either right or left side. We also offer a conventional option for the A4 Storm in either a Freightliner, non-CDL, or an international non-CDL conventional cab. So therefore, you do have a choice based upon your particular customers' requirements. Some of the features on the Isuzu are first class. You've got West Coast mirrors. These mirrors can either be manually operated or you can get them with optional in-cab controls for remote control right and left, as well as heated options. They also come with a standard 8-inch parabolic mirror, which can also be increased to a 12-inch side if so required. Inside the cab, we've got an LCD monitor in the cab for a rear vision camera. The camera itself is an infrared camera allowing really good nighttime viewing. We have the ability to add more than one camera. We can add up to 3 additional cameras for a total of 4, do a split screen on it, have it scanning from camera to camera, whichever your customer prefers. The control system in the cab is a very easy, simple control system. First of all, the console is centrally located, therefore it can rotate from either driving station. It has a digital readout with an LCD monitor that shows all your gauges with regards to your engine for engine temperature, oil pressure, RPMs, and so forth. It's also, we've got our various switch banks, one for water system, another for lighting, another for all your hydraulic controls, including your gutter broom, your sweeping head, as well as your dump controls. Everything is all the switches have international symbols on them, and they're also labeled as well on the base of the console to make them easy to read to see exactly what the function is. The seats in the cab, we've got a bucket seat on the left side. It is adjustable. The right side standard seat is a fixed base bench seat, 3/4 bench. We do have an option if you want to add a right side adjustable seat on the other side if you've got a larger operator. Moving on back from the cab back to the sweeper. Moving back to the sweeper, first of all, back behind the cab we have all the emission components for the propulsion engine on the chassis. That has the DPF, diesel particulate filter for the chassis. Also, we've got the DEF tank on the other side for the chassis DEF fluid. Moving down here to the gutter broom. The gutter brooms on the A4 Storm are 39-inch diameter. They've got a couple of really nice features on them. One, we have an optional in-cab controlled hydraulic tilt. 2, we have another inboard electric linear actuator that allows you to adjust the lateral positioning of the broom in infinite adjustments to allow you to move the broom in front of the head and break loose any packed down material prior to your air blast. What that does is that increases your pickup efficiency and just adds another workable feature to the gutter brooms themselves. Another feature of the broom is, first of all, the torque motor is recessed down into the disc. Having it recessed down into the disc, what it does, it almost virtually eliminates, say, string or twine wrapping around that pump shaft, causing a premature seal failure. The string or twine will wrap around the outside of the broom itself instead of wrapping around that torque motor, which could cause a premature seal failure. The torque motor itself comes with a standard 2-year, 2,400-hour warranty, which is double of any of our competitors. The broom has a light for nighttime operation. It has 2 nozzles for dust control to help control the fugitive dust generated from the agitation of the broom itself. There is one grease zerk back on this U-joint back underneath here that requires a 1/4 ounce of grease every 120 hours. We also have the ability to add a remote grease bank system to where all the grease points are put onto one bank, which would include those gutter brooms, everything labeled where you can hit every grease zerk from ground level and not have to climb around the machine, which saves you from a workman's comp situation, anybody slipping and falling off the sweeper. Plus, if it's easier to get to, it's going to get greased. If it's hard to get to, it's not. Up here to the hydraulic system. First of all, we have a 16.5 gallon hydraulic tank with a electric fan cooler that has is thermostatically controlled to keep your hydraulic temperatures to a minimum. The number one failure with hydraulics is heat infiltration. On the heat side of things, with the thermostatically controlled electric cooling system, we keep our hydraulic temperatures to a minimum. From the filtration side, we've got a 10 micron spin-on filter on return that filters the fluid back that's coming back into the tank upon return. There's also a temperature and sight gauge in the cab. There's also a low hydraulic level shutdown system that's built into it as standard. Back here to the valve bodies. The valve body of the A4, we use electric over hydraulic valves. You can, of course, activate them from inside the cab, but you also have the ability to use a screwdriver or whatever and manually actuate that valve to check it out to make sure that it's functioning. Okay, there are quick disconnect pressure test ports as well as adjustment knobs to allow you to either adjust your pressures as well as check your relief pressures. Relief pressures on the A4 runs at 2,500 PSI throughout. The hydraulics are all powered by a direct drive hydraulic pump powered by our Cummins 74 horsepower engine, which we'll discuss more on the other side. But it is not a belt drive, it is a direct drive system. All right. Down here to the water system. The standard water capacity on an A4 Storm is 130 gallons. Okay, standard capacity against one of our competitors, Timco, our main competitor, is 150 gallons. But what we offer in addition to the standard 130 gallons is we offer an additional 67 gallon tank, giving us a total water capacity of 197 gallons. That's pretty much an industry leader right there with regards to water capacity. Down below the water tanks, we have our batteries. It's 1,850 cold cranking amps shared by both engines. So we've got an alternator from the truck, from the front propulsion engine, as well as the auxiliary engine putting power back into those batteries. Back here to the fan system, our fan housing is constructed of abrasion resistant steel. It also has a replaceable wear liner held in by these elevator bolts to protect that housing from abrasion. Inside the housing, we have our industry leading whisper wheel fan system. It's a 30-inch diameter fan by 5 inches wide. It produces a little over 14,000 cubic feet of air per minute. And of course that creates your pressure, which in turn equates to your suction to pick up your material. The fan itself is constructed of hard ox steel with a Brinell hardness of right around 500. The type of fan is a closed face radial type fan with a backwards incline in it. That backwards incline is what gives us the power in the negative water column in order to have the most powerful suction of a sweeper in its class. The fan is also balanced within 1.5 grams on two sides. The value to that is it gives you a much wider power range for operation. Whereas our competitors are using a open wheel paddle type fan that is only balanced within 4 grams on one side. So we get a much smoother operating machine as well as much more power whenever we do need it for those heavier debris applications. Coming down to the pressure tube, we use first of all, both the pressure tube on this side as well as the suction tube on the other side are both 12 inches in diameter. They're made of heavy wire reinforced molded rubber with quick disconnects on top and bottom. We are the only sweeper manufacturer to offer the quick disconnects on top and bottom as standard equipment. The benefit to that is when it comes time to remove your sweeping head to replace the sweeper sweeping flaps, you pop the quick disconnects off and you can slide the head right out. Additionally, it's always wise to rotate your hoses a quarter turn periodically in order to change the wear points of the hoses in order to get the longest life out of them. Down to the sweeping head. The sweeping head is 27 by 80 inches. Okay, this sweeping head has been redesigned here in the last few years. What we did is we went in and we took our industry-leading A7, A9, A8 regenerative air head, and we took it and we shrunk it down to meet the A4 requirements. Some key features of this head are, first of all, it is a dual chambered head. So you have an upper and a lower chamber. And your air is coming down through this blast tube down into this upper and lower chamber, and then there is a slot 3/4 of an inch wide called a blast orifice. You're pressurizing that upper chamber, and that air is coming through that blast orifice pretty much like an air knife and going to the ground and removing the particulates deep out of the cracks of the pavement, peeling up any material that's on the ground, and then effectively transferring that material over. Now, with regard to transfer, our blast orifice is at a 3-degree angle across the head. The reason it's at an angle is what it's doing, it creates debris transfer even when we're sitting still. As we move forward, it allows us to transfer debris even faster, therefore we have faster sweeping speeds than some of our competitors. Our competitors, meanwhile, have a blast orifice straight across the back. So therefore they're not getting that transfer, nor can they get to the sweeping speeds. The head has 2 rubber flaps in the rear, another rubber flap just forward of center, and a dust flap up front. And it also rides on these dual wide carbide runners, which are virgin carbide. The carbide runners themselves have a 2-year, 2,000-hour prorated warranty in place as standard equipment. Water nozzles are around the head include 4 nozzles strategically located on the corners of the head in order to knock down any fugitive dust that is generated from any of the air pressure itself. Now, this particular machine is also equipped with an optional head deluge system. This head deluge system is a 2-inch cam lock fitting. It's at the end of the big benefit to this cam lock fitting is at the end of the day. End of the day, you get done, you take the same water hose that you use to fill up your water tank for dust control, hook it into that head deluge, hook it to a fire hydrant, drop your head down, put your hopper down, and crank your engine RPMs up to about 2,000 and let it run for about 5 minutes. What it's going to do is it's going to flood the whole upper chamber of that head down through the blast orifice, go up through the suction tube, and completely clean all those internal components of the sweeper out. Plus the water goes in the hopper, you dump it out, you do a quick rinse, and you're done. So this feature, while costing about $450, is worth way more than that just in the time you're going to save in clean out and the increased production that you're going to obtain. Back here, we've got a pressure bleeder. Now, very key to how Schwarze does this pressure bleeder. You'll notice it's up on the side of the housing on a flat section, where our competitors take theirs in a rectangle box into a round tube. Well, we all know, as kids growing up, the round block didn't fit in the rectangle and vice versa. Our competitors, when they open up their pressure bleeders full open, they can get a maximum of a 20% release of air out of their pressure bleeder, compared to our positioning where, being on this flat section, we can open up and bleed off up to 80% of our air. Where that becomes a benefit is the varying applications. You're better able to balance out that airflow to where you get the best pickup capability for that type of material. Leaves is a good example. As you open this bleeder up, it will relieve the pressure to the head because the fan is looking for that return air that it's not getting. So it literally causes a starving effect of the suction tube and pulls the rubber flaps, both the dust flap up front and the other flaps just forward to center, completely flat against the top of the head, and allows those lighter materials to pile right in, eliminating the buildup in front of the head, which is associated with real high leaf volumes. Back here, we've also got a DC backup hydraulic system mounted back up under. That DC backup hydraulic system will power any hydraulic function without the use of the auxiliary engine. So if you're out on the job site, your power unit fails for some reason, you can raise the head, raise your gutter brooms, go dump the hopper, get it in the shop, raise it up, and the mechanic can work on it. Or if you're in an area where it's really dusty, you can drop your head down first before you power it up so you don't blow any dust out. Or if you're in an area where it's very, very dusty when you're dumping, you can dump your hopper without the use of that auxiliary engine. Back here to our toolbox, got the largest toolboxes of any manufacturer in this class of sweeper. Toolbox on the right and left side. Turn the knob, open them up. Got plenty of room to put backpack blowers, to put gas cans, anything that you might need to store in there. Additionally, you've got 2 pass-throughs right here that allow you to store brooms and shovels. So if you need to have brooms and shovels for your particular situation where you're going to sweep your job, you can stick them in there and not have to strap them to the side of the sweeper. Our director made us spin the truck around so we could get some better lighting. We're going to go ahead and move around here to the back of the truck. The back of the truck, we've got a door here that gives us access to our fuel fill point, as well as a quick disconnect pressure checkpoint for our hydraulic system. And that's where our DC backup system is located as well. Back up here to the lighting in the rear, we've got a high level brake light, our low level brake lights, reverse lights, turn signals, all in the back. They're all LED. Something else is all the lighting, whether it's strobe lights, work lights, brake lights, clearance lights, anything you order on an A4 is going to have LED lights instead of any type of incandescent bulbs. There are also 2 high intensity strobes that are hard to see now, but they're where I'm pointing here on the right and the left, that are standard high intensity Whelen strobes that come standard with the machine as well. Of course, any other type of additional lighting, strobes, bar lights, arrow boards can be added at your customer's request. With regards to the hopper is a 4.8 cubic yard volumetric capacity. The hopper can be constructed of 3 different types of steel. We can use our standard carbon steel. We can use a stainless steel high strength magnetic steel. We can use also a 304 series non-magnetic steel. If you do choose either stainless steel option, the sweeper will come with a lifetime warranty against rust and perforation for the original owner. Some of the features of the sweeper, first of all, you can see the clean out door for the suction screen up top. If you want to clean that door out, what you do, there's a lever on the other side, you pull that up, it opens up, it gives you a complete access to the top of the A4 in order to effectively wash that screen out. You'll notice there's also a deluge system with a 2-inch cam lock fitting, similar to what we have on the side of the sweeping head. You plug your hydrant into there, it forces water down through that system and it allows you to flush that system out using a hydrant fill hose and a fire hydrant. The dump door completely seals, hydraulically opens and closes, and it's all controlled with one switch. When you go to dump, you press the dump switch, the rear door will open, and then the hopper will tilt up to an 88-degree angle in order to get proper ejection of debris out of the machine. When you close, the hopper will go down, and then the rear door will close and seal off at that point. There's also an additional an optional hopper vibrator that is available, controlled from in-cab to help assist with that debris ejection. On the side of the machine, you'll notice we've got an auxiliary hand hose mounted on here. It's a 6-inch diameter Canaflex hose with a 52-inch steel collection nozzle. We also have the ability to add some additional 4-foot extensions onto this if you need that additional reach to get down into deeper catch basins or some remote areas. Moving over to this side, we come to our suction intake. Suction intake, just as on the blast transition we talked about earlier, is a 12-inch diameter hose with quick disconnects top and bottom. One of the big pluses, whether it's the blast transition, the upper suction transition, the lower transition, or the intake going to the hoppers, that they're all bolt-on replaceable. What we've done with this sweeper is any wear part are all bolt-on replaceable on this machine. So therefore, if you do wear out a mid transition or a lower transition several thousand hours into the ownership of the machine, you just unbolt it, put the new weldment in, and you're back in business without having to put a stick welder to it. Again, all of these key wear parts are all made of abrasion resistant steel. The hose, of course, is the 3/8 wire reinforced molded rubber, just as on the pressure side. And of course, with the quick disconnects, you're able to make those incremental adjustments with regards to the wear point in order to extend the life of the suction tube itself. Down up here, we have our power unit. Power unit, we utilize a 74 horsepower Cummins diesel engine. Cummins diesel engine does not have a DEF tank. It does not have a DPF. It has a catalytic converter. Therefore, all regens are completely eliminated from this particular machine. 74 horsepower compared to our main competitor, that runs a 56 horsepower, gives you a significant more amount of power, especially when you get into those heavy debris applications. Plus, it's a great spec item when it comes to getting your spec written and getting a fatal exception against your competition. The engine's going to come with a dual element air cleaner with a pop-up restriction indicator in order to keep the air filtered prior to going into the engine. It also has a radiator, a high capacity radiator with a pusher fan, and in order to keep your temperatures on your engine down to a minimum. With regards to the water system, of course, we talked about the nozzles in the hopper, the 5 nozzles around the head, the nozzles on each gutter broom. All those are powered independently by a 5.88 gallon per minute electric diaphragm pump mounted here underneath the water tank. That pump has a maximum output of 5.88 gallons a minute and 125 psi. We have the rating, the psi set at 60 on a relief. It has a 50 mesh nylon screen pre-filter that screws into this point. It also has a restriction indicator on it to where if this pre-filter gets to a 60% restriction or more, it will shut the water system off and put an alarm, a visual and audible alarm on in the cab, alerting the operator to get out and clean the pre-filter in order so they can re-engage the water system. In order to re-engage it, once you clean it, you reset the restriction indicator and you're back in business. Right gutter broom is just like the left gutter broom. You've got optional controls for tilt, lateral positioning with the gutter broom extension override actuator, 39-inch broom recessed disc. One thing I want to add about the sweeping head, you can kind of get a good look at this drag arm in the very front of the machine. That drag arm is very key with the way it's designed, the way it's mounted. It's mounted to the front of the sweeping head, and it's a very strong reinforced piece of steel. That means you can operate this sweeper in forward or reverse without any damage. You put it in reverse, that head will back up and you could sweep as far as you want to go, turn around and come back forward. You will not damage that head, so you're taking operator error out of the equation. Additionally, if you're going down a curb line, you go through some heavy material, you notice in your rear view camera that you did leave a bit of material, you can put it in reverse, back up, make a second pass, drive, make a third pass, and never leave your curb line. You can look at that from a production point of view, also look at it from a safety point of view of not having a head raise up and blowing air out to keep people possibly walking down the street. This side over here we have, of course, the DEF tank for the chassis. We've got the water fill point for the water tanks for dust control. The Schwarze A4 Storm is a great unit for various applications, whether it be a small city that needs the power of the larger sweeper but yet not the price tag, or a larger city who needs a sweeper that's extremely maneuverable for your downtown operations, as well as a contractor who needs the ability to not only be able to go sweep his streets, street jobs, construction cleanups, but also needs a sweeper he can dual purpose in a parking lot as well.